D, wait for it, delightful.
I got the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I just got done watching episode 3 of Picard, and let me just tell you right now, guys. Terry Metallis gets it. This guy gets it because this episode was quite good. I enjoyed it immensely. I will be honest, the beginning of it, I was kind of getting annoyed, and Picard was being very much a naggy little biatch in this episode, and I was getting very annoyed with him. And some stuff happened that kind of annoyed me, but overall, the episode is very good, especially the reveal. I'm gonna talk about it when we get to this breakdown, but I'm gonna talk about it when the reveal happened. I was like punching. I was like, I was like, that is what I'm talking about. I am pumped. More caffeine. So this episode, they reveal who like the bad guy is, and I'm telling you guys right now, I was like, that's good. I like it. And I'm enjoying where this is going now, because at first I was all like, well, where is this going? Because this Shriek ship with Amanda Palmer, I can't remember her name. I'm gonna look it up while I'm talking to you guys. But I was all like, I don't know where this is going. I'm not sure if I'm like, really loving it, in terms of like the bad guy, because I'm all like, okay, so she's a bounty hunter. I'm like, big freaking whoop kind of thing. But then this episode, I was like, okay, now I'm like, what I want to know what's gonna happen, because it's very much like I don't know, the reveal, you guys, just really like, I want to talk about it. I also think that what's his face, William Riker, the actor, I can't think of his name. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just so excited about this, and I'm trying to look up the character's name, because I don't want to do the thing where I'm always like, oh, what's her face? I'm so bad with names, you guys. I'm like the worst. Of course they don't have it for this episode. Okay. But yeah, and then like I said before, yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm being such a douche. Okay, Vatic. Okay, her name is Vatic. All right. So I'm gonna get started on this breakdown. I'm sorry I just wasted some time and everything, but I want to talk about this episode, but I want to do it during this little breakdown and everything. I hope I don't take too much of your time. I understand if you bail, because I can be very chatty, but you guys, I want to emphasize that this episode was, especially the back half, was tremendous. Very, very good. But before I get started on this breakdown, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we just keep getting shoved to the back of the line. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so let's get started on this breakdown. So it starts off, as you guys know, if you're watching the show, that the Shrike is, they're basically hunting its prey, the Titan. So they're on the bridge, and they're sitting here, and this thing is just like following them, and she's doing her thing, Vatic is, and then people are getting injured. And I like how, okay, so this guy right here, this black guy, Beverly Crusher, she gets taken to the sick bay. Excuse me. And she's all like, I can't tell if she's like injured. I apologize. I have something in my throat. I can't tell if she is injured or not. But this guy, he turns to them as they're doing it. Like, I was annoyed with this right off the bat. And he's all like, hold on. He's like, this is all your fault. And I'm all like, dude, seriously? And he doesn't deliver it very well. There's a lot of like people that aren't like the main characters that do a lot of bad acting. And I'm all like, you couldn't have hired somebody to do some good acting in this and everything. But it's totally fine. All right. So he's like, this is your fault. And then this guy goes to like, Jack goes to, I don't like Jack. I tell you that right now. I automatically don't like Jack. He really annoys me as a character. The actor, I don't really know the actor except for that Aragon movie, but as a character, he's very annoying. Like, because he goes to fight the dude, and I'm all like, dude, you're in a hospital and you're gonna go fight a patient because he said something like not even like that big a deal. And she's like, Jack, let it go, and everything. I don't know why I gave her the accent. So they're on the bridge. Oh, this bald woman right here. The we'll talk about her in just a second. So they're on the bridge and they're trying to figure what's going on, right? And so these two they're giving him ideas and stuff, but he's kind of listening, kind of Shaw's not listening, kind of listening, whatever. I like Shaw as a character. I feel like they took him like out too fast and everything, and they show him to not be very competent. Like, this is another thing that really annoys me. Like, Starfleet is the best of the best. Like, you don't just get into Starfleet and get thrown on a ship because you want to. You have to prove yourself that you're good at what you do and you know what you're doing and everything. And Shaw comes off very incompetent to me in this, especially in this episode, because he's constantly like, well, what should I do? I don't know what to do, and everything. And I'm all like, well, shouldn't you, if you're a captain, you should have known all this stuff. And like, yeah, you should know what you're doing. So the Shriek is still and they're able to track them, and we find out why later. But so and Amanda Palmer, she's doing a good job, but I have to be honest, they've made her look very ugly in this show. Like, I'm all like, this is a very like Amanda Palmer, I don't want to be mean to her because I do think she's a good actress and she's doing a good job here, but they've made her very ugly. Like, I'm just like, ugh, like, you need to honey needs to wash her hair. There are things crawling in it. Anyway, so they lose them in the nebula, but she's going to be able to find them later because they're able to track them because they have a saboteur on board. So they're doing their thing, and he keeps asking them, and I can't remember what he says here. Sorry, at the beginning. So then we go in here, and so we go into the past, right? And we're here on Earth, and these two, which they've de-aged them, and I think he's wearing a wig because his hair looks weird, in my opinion. So he's talking about the birth of his son, the one that died because of the synthetic thing, and season 1, it was so stupid. It made no freaking sense. I'll tell you that right now. It made no sense. I hated it. You hated it. If you liked it, you're weird. Okay, that's just the end of that conversation. So they're sitting here talking, and he's talking about the birth of his son. And he talks about how, they only had 17 seconds to get to sick bay because Troy went into to labor and there was complications and all that stuff. And he and I related to this because I'm a father. And he said that in that moment, it was the longest 17 seconds of his life because he was scared for his son, his unborn child. And Jean-Luc says, that's the moment you became a father. And I, as a father, I related to it 100%. When my kids were born, there were complications during our first child's, my daughter, when she was born, there was complications during that and everything. And, but it all turned out great. She's great. But, you get, you as a parent, you get scared for your children. Trust me, I'm scared all the time. It's like crazy. But I understood. I felt this. And look at that de-aging. I didn't think they did a great job on the de-aging. Like, I feel like he's just wearing like a mask and just like 2 little eye slits. I don't know. I just feel like my Snapchat filters are better than this, Anyways, but I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it. And so they're sitting here talking. I can't remember if he's like, they're so happy. And then Troy calls, and this is where he's talking about like how he was scared, and he's like, that's the moment you became a father, because he's like super happy that he's a dad now. And I'm like, yay, Riker. And then Troy calls, and she's like, oh, having whiskey at the bar and everything. And she's like, your son, she does some bad acting here in my honesty. This little thing right here, I'm like, what, was this picked up in post, and she just like, stood and like with a sausage roll all up and bundled up and everything. Anyways, she's like, your son just threw up on me, and you need to bring the whiskey. And I'm all like, okay, good for you, honey. And I'm all like, you're ruining his good time. I can't tell if he's upset because he's not a dad, but he's probably being a parent. Listen, being a parent is like the best thing ever. If you don't have kids and you can't have kids, I suggest doing it. It will change your life for the better. Okay, so back in the present day, they are just stranded in this nebula, and it's messing with their systems because that's what it does. Real quick, I want to talk about this woman right here. This actress, I like her a lot. She's very good. She should get more work. She was in Doom Patrol. She plays one of the Crazy Jane's personalities. She does a very good job. I would like to see her in more stuff. If this character can continue in the Star Trek universe, that would be great. But if not, I get it. Stuff happens. But she's a good actress. I would put her in more stuff if it was me. But what do I know? I'm not a Hollywood person. I just critique this crap. Okay, so she's basically saying, like, it's messing with our systems and everything. Oh, he sends LaForge and this guy, I don't remember his name. Don't get mad at me because I don't remember his name. Okay, he's very much a secondary character. LaForge, I remember because, LaForge, duh. So anyways, I don't remember the Vulcan lady's name either, so calm it down. So he sends them out because they need to get rest because they're on 36-hour watch and everything. So they leave, and Danica is trying to work on some stuff or whatnot, and LaForge comes in and talks to her, and she comes in and she gives her this pep talk about how, like, my father is a engineer. Everybody knows him. He's a legend. Everybody loves him. He's a great engineer, and so he was a little disappointed when I wanted to be a pilot. And she's all like, oh, great sob story and everything. And she's like, listen, she's like, you belong here with your peoples. And these are your peoples, talking about like Picard and Riker, even though they're not her peoples, you know what I'm saying? Because she's a Voyager person. But hey, whatever. So then we go back to the med bay, and okay. And then Crusher, Beverly, is helping with all the medical stuff because she's a doctor, duh. And this other doctor comes up and she's all like, what are you doing? And she's all like, the other doctor, put me to work because I'm all good now. And I'm, I have a medical degree, so I can help out. And she's all like, well, this stuff, the tech is a little bit newer now, and since I'm paraphrasing, by the way, and she's like, and you're like pretty old, so it might be a little bit above your station, like above your knowledge, like boomer. And I'm like, I just want to be like, Beverly, smack that Trill across the face right now. Just give her a little smack. She wants to talk, you talk shit, you get hit, you know what I'm saying? So she's being very ageist right now, if you will, because I'm all like, Beverly's a doctor too, honey. I'm like, isn't there like, something among doctors where you're like, you're on the same team? But so she goes back to work and she's like, you're going to be fine. Just, power through, buddy. So, and look at them smiling like they did something special. But anyway, so these two come in, and he talks to Beverly because he's all like, anything you say in front of my mother, you can say in front of me. And she's like, it's okay. Let me talk to him by myself. So they're sitting here talking. She's like, you remember that time, the last time we were together by the waterfalls of, whatever planet. And she's all like, and then you got that call from Starfleet. And she's like, that's where I ended it, between us officially, because. And then she's like, and that's where I got pregnant. And she does add, okay. So real quick, on another stream, a friend said something about the British accent. They explained the British accent very flippantly, like it's so like nonchalant, but I'm all like, of course. He went to school in, England or whatever, and he never lost the British accent. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I personally don't care that he has a British accent. That's nothing that like, I wasn't like all like, oh, he's got a British accent. How is he, British, but it's, I don't care. Anyways, so then and then he's like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, I tried to tell you this time. And then something happened. Then I tried to tell you this time, and you were dealing with a Romulan Praetor. And then I tried to tell you this time. And he's all like, and he's basically like, and she's all like, you wouldn't have given up Starfleet to stop and be a father. And he's like, you didn't even give me the chance to choose. You took that right away from me. And I was like, good on you, Picard, because Beverly, shame on you. Shame on you. You did not give him the chance to step up and be a man and be a father to a child. You are the villain in this story, not Picard. He's not the deadbeat dad. You're the evil mother in this. And I stand by that. Because statistically, it's not surprising that her son is a criminal because she's a single mother. Look up the statistics. I will stand by that. So she took that right away from him, and he could have been a good dad, and he might have stepped away from Starfleet, but we'll never know because she was selfish. That's right. She was selfish. And she tells him all this, and I'm sorry, I stayed on her because I was looking at her and I wanted to yell. Look, you can see the pain in his eyes. He does a good job. You can see the pain in his eyes. Like, man, what kind of father would I have been? Would I have been a good father? Would I have done a good job? And she took that. I'm so annoyed with her character. I know. But hey, that's how sometimes it happens. That's how it happens sometimes, and she could have been eviler by telling him about it and then not letting him see him. That would have been way evil too. Yeah. So, and she does talk about, okay. So she also talks about how they were attacked by Fenris Rangers, and then they tried to get help, but then it was Klingons, and then it was Starfleet, and it was all this. They kept trying to get help, and they for some reason but they couldn't trust anybody, and we're gonna find out why. Because it wasn't Klingons and Starfleet, it was something else. So I'm gonna tell you if you haven't watched the episode, you guys, when that reveal happens, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. So she's like, that's why I told you not to trust anybody. So then these two are talking, and I can't remember. I cannot remember what they talk about here, you guys. I'm sorry. I didn't take notes. I just wanted to, as soon as I was done with the episode, I just wanted to get on here and record. And I didn't take notes, and I should have. I apologize. Please don't be mad at me. So they talk about how he says, like, stop looking at me like I'm a science experiment. And he's like, but you are, kid. He's like, you've been cooked up on a starship for a long time now. And he's talking about the relationship between Beverly Crusher and Jean-Luc. And then he talks about like how all these people are putting their lives on the line for him because he's what they want, which I'm curious as to why they want him specifically. But all these people are putting their lives on the line for him. And I can't remember the rest of it, but if it's something really significant, please leave it in the comment section. I'm sorry, you guys. Don't be mad. I'm trying to remember everything. And if you had watched this episode, you should be excited as excited as I am. This is where she tells him about not trusting everybody. Sorry. Before it was about being the dad thing. He does say something along the lines of here that you didn't even give me the chance kind of thing. So they head back up. And they're in the, hold on. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. So they're trying to figure out what's going on because the Shrike has found them, right? And it's devastating them as the ship goes. And okay, so Shaw gets knocked out and he's all bloody and stuff. Like his leg is bleeding, his face is bleeding, he's bleeding out of his mouth. It's a lot of blood. I don't like blood, but this is like a lot of fake blood. So he makes Riker captain of the ship, and he's all like, you wanted to be captain, prove yourself as captain. And then he transfers command of the ship over to Riker, which was very cool. I liked it. But again, I'm just like, why would you have Shaw in here and you show him he's a jerk, which I like that about him because he put them in their place. Like, hey, just because you're a retired admiral and you were a captain of this ship doesn't mean you get to come on here and tell me what to do. But then they made him like incompetent and not knowing what he's doing. And then they just push him off to the side. I didn't like that. Because I liked this character, and I'm just like, why wouldn't you just give him a little bit more of a chance, Maybe he'll come in later. I'm not too sure he will now, but we'll see. So then Riker takes over, right? And he's all like, give me he's like, we're gonna fire at the ship, we're gonna fire a torpedo, and I want you to spin it and then fire a phaser at it, and the blast should send it off. And he tells Jean-Luc to do this, and then so he does it, and it fires. Sorry, I played it a little bit. So it fires and then explodes, and then it blasts the ship off, the Shrike, sorry. And he's like, good job. She's all like, it has gotten rid of the thing or whatnot. And he's a good job, Jean-Luc. And he's like, I think you should get Admiral. And he's like, I think you should get used to calling me number one. I was like, yeah, call him number one. Daddy likes it. So then back on Metallis Prime, which I like how Terry Metallis named this planet Metallis Prime. I liked it. I was like, good on you. I was like, hey, you wrote it. I would mine would be called Matt Cat Prime. This is so stupid. Okay. And we get back to Raffi. Now I want to just say again, even though I do like this actress, I like her a lot. I would like to see her in more things. I don't like Raffi. I just don't like her. Even in this, I like this storyline that they have. I just don't like this character. And there's no getting around it. I can't help it unless she like does I don't know, understand. I don't know how what this character could do to make me like her. I just don't like her. I'm sorry. So she wakes up and she sees the report about that recruiting center, and Worf is doing his thing, being all cool and Worfy. Although I hate this ship, I hate the layout of it, I hate the look of it, all of it. And she comes up behind him and he throws his dagger and he like turns the gun on her, and it was very cool. And he's like, I'm the son of Wolf. I'm Wolf, the son of Moog and all this stuff, or the whatever. He goes through this whole lineage and is like, I've made chamomile tea. Would you like sugar? And I was like, And she's like, you're Worf. You're a legend. I was like, yeah, he is. Worf is awesome. I love Worf. Yeah. So he talks about how all the how she was she took the drugs from before, and the Ferengi and all this stuff, and he's like, I told you not to go in there and you didn't listen to me. And she's all like, we have to figure out what's going on, because this is so they talk about how they stole the stuff, and we need to figure out what is their big plan. Like, what are they trying to do? And we need to figure out who did it. And he brings up the fact that, hold on, I'm trying to, that he found a dude, this guy right here, Titus. He is the guy that got the stuff, that did the whole brokering and stuff and bought the weapons and everything, from the Ferengi and the Romulan guy. And they pinned it on the Romulan guy. So then back on the ship, so this whole time Jean-Luc is telling Riker, you have to attack. He's being a very naggy, like a wife, just being all like, you need to attack. And he's like, no, we need to hide and defend ourselves, because they have more weapons and it's obviously a much more powerful ship. Jean-Luc, we need to hide. I'm doing what's best to keep this crew alive, and attacking would not be good for us. So we need to. Apologies, I really need the caffeine. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so he's like, we need to get our warp back online, and we need to get out of this nebula, and then we need to warp and get away from this place as fast as possible. And Jean-Luc the whole time is just like, no, we need to fight. So then back at the med bay, she's trying to get everybody like cleaned up. He's trying to help, but I'm like, is he a doctor? He tells this girl, everything's going to be okay, I promise. She's like, thanks. And I'm all like, oh, get out of here with this nonsense. It was very annoying. Like, I don't like this character either, this Jack character. I don't like him. I don't know what he could do to make me like him either. So then Shaw, he goes into whatever this is. He starts spazzing and everything, and she's like, I can't. She's like, need some help, and she's like, can you breathe? And he's like, ugh, and everything. And so she does some triage on him. Yeah, I know some words. And she's like, he's bleeding internally. And she's like, I just did the scan. And she's like, the scan won't pick up a da-da-da-da-da. I don't know all the medical jargon that she said. I don't even know if it's real medical jargon, but she's like, he's bleeding from the inside. So then she did a thing, and he's all like, and he says to Jack, he's like, how are they tracking us? Or how are they finding us? And so Jack gets an idea. He's like, how are they tracking? So he looks right here, and he sees all this blood stuff, and he's like, and he thinks that he says it later on, blood in the water. That's how they're tracking them. So then they're sitting here and they're trying to figure stuff out. Vulcan says that in the middle of the nebula is a something or other. I can't remember. We'll just say a black hole. It's not a black hole. A sinkhole. I don't know. Remember what it's called. Sorry, you guys. But if they go any further into the nebula, they risk going into that, and their sensors will be to the point where it'll just start messing with too much stuff, and it's just not good. So she's like, logic would say we do not go any further into the nebula. So he's all like, all right, let's get out of the nebula then. So he's like, tell, because he's like, tell engineering they have as long as it takes us to get out of this nebula to get that warp core online. So he tries to go to the bridge, and they won't let him on the bridge. So then he goes because he's like, we got to figure something out. So they're running, they're getting out of the nebula, and here comes the shriek right behind him, and I'm like, ooh, this is good. Now I just want to say real quick, even though I didn't like Nemesis, the movie Nemesis. This reminds me of that ship, and what was that one called? The what was it called? I can't remember that. Tom, what's his name? The Bane from the Dark Knight series. I can't remember his name. Well, he was a young Jean-Luc Picard, a very sexy Jean-Luc Picard. But his ship from that movie. It reminds me of that, like these scenes right here, because it's a predator. So she's like, charge the weapon or whatnot. So they fire the weapon, right? And as they're going forward to go into warp, it takes them through this little portal, right? And they just portal back into the nebula. And I was like, shut up. I was like, that's good. That's good. I like that. So they can't get away. Like they portal right in front of the Shriek. And I was like, oh, I was like, they got you. They got you. And I was like, man, that's good. That's good, Terry Metallis. I was like, ooh, you're getting me with this stuff. See, this is the back half of the episode where I was like, I kept going, ooh, that's good. I kept saying it like out loud as I was watching the episode. So then they try to do it again. They're like, do it again. So they fire and they fire it again. And then they again land right in front of the Shriek. So, and I like how Amanda Palmer's character, she's just like sitting in there and she's just all like, hi, welcome to the party. You're not going anywhere. Like, give me what I want. So he's like, we have to attack, William. We have to attack. And he's like, yo, why don't you stop being a naggy little biatch? Okay, let me do my thing. So then back on Metallis Prime, we go back in here, and they are trying to track down that Titus guy, right? And I like this banter between these two, because he's like, that hood does not make you look, it makes you look conspicuous or whatever. And she's like, oh, you're in like full on Klingon warrior garb. And he's like, this is not warrior garb. This is casual. And she's like, for what? The beheading for Tuesday beheading. And then they see the guy. And long story short, they chase him down, and Worf like picks him up and slams him into a table. And he's like, beheadings are on Wednesday. And I was like, that's funny. I like that. I like that, Terry. You're doing good with this stuff. It's very like, I didn't laugh out loud. I did smile. I was like, that's a good joke. So then the Shriek is attacking them. The Shrike, I keep calling the Shriek, attacking them, and they're still hiding. They're running and hiding. And again, Picard's all like, we need to attack them. And I'm all like, I just like, if I was William, I'd be like, if you say we need to attack them one more time, I am going to tape your mouth shut. I've had enough of you. You stop that. So back at 7 of 9's quarters, Danica. I like 7 of 9 better than Danica, but whatever. He comes in, he's like, when you were a Fenris Ranger, and she's like, oh, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, oh, shut up, 7 of 9. You do have time for this. There's nothing else you're doing. I don't even know why I understand that she was like, given leave or whatever, but I'm like, why don't you let her work? I mean, like, she's still capable. You should still let her do stuff around the ship, even though she, did naughty business, according to you. So then he's like, remember when you were Fenris Ranger and there was blood in the water? There was a leak on the ship. We need to figure out the leak. So then they go to leave, and they figure out it's something around the warp core coils or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a T, I think. And he's like, you're not allowed to leave. Orders. Your orders are you're not allowed to leave. And so he punches him and then knocks him out. So then these two, they're on their own little mission, right? So They then, stuff is going down. Like the ship is getting attacked. People are getting blown all over the place. So they go in here and they find out that this is the room for the leak. So they go in there and they find the leak and they open it up and someone has sabotaged the coils. So that is how the Shrike is finding them. So 7 of 9, she's gonna go off on her own and she's gonna plug, but she needs Jack to stay here and she'll get a hold of him when it's all ready to go and he can seal it up or all that stuff. So then Picard is all like, you need to attack. You need to attack. And I just, again, the whole time, like every time Picard talked after this and kept telling Riker to attack, I'm like, Picard, we got it. You want him to attack. Why don't you wait for your moment? Because it's going to come up. So then he says no. He says no, not the time. Oh, because he wants to set a trap. Okay. So since they've been following that stuff, the gas or whatever that's been leaking, they're going to follow that so they can get up behind them and attack them from behind. They'll use it as a trap. And so Riker's just all like, we can't do it. It's just not going to work. He's like, there's somebody on the ship. There's a saboteur and it's this guy. And remember on episode 1 when they passed him and he was like giving him the look. And I know it's not really that big a deal because they were like setting up foreshadowing. But this guy, I knew he was a bad guy. I knew he was the bad guy on the ship. Like something was going down. And I knew he was bad. So he sees that Jack's in there and he goes in and he attacks Jack, right? And he is throwing him all over the place. Well, Jack punches him and his face, hold on, I want to play it because his face goes all gnarly, right? Oh, no, hold on. So he throws him and then look, his face goes all gnarly right here. Like, right, look at that. Okay, now at first I didn't know what that was, right? You guys, I didn't realize what it was because I was like, I thought it was just like a blanket of some sort, like a shape-shifting blanket. And he gets knocked out. He takes off the mask and he's breathing in that stuff because the stuff is toxic and everything and he can't breathe it in. So he's like he's ready to pass out. So then on this ship, they are questioning this guy and he tries to blame the Romulans. She's like, it's not the Romulans. He's like, I can't tell you. So then Worf tries to talk about how he's all like peaceful and stuff like that. And he doesn't cut off people's fingers and stuff or whatever. And so she's all like, I know what it's like because you need to fix and everything. And you're having withdrawals. He's not having withdrawals. So then they're questioning him and everything. And they're thinking that this is hold on. Can't remember if it's like right here. And she's like, oh, you want the drugs? I get it. Just tell us what we want to know. Because nobody knows you're here. And we're not letting you go until we get our information. And he's all like upset about that. So then he starts hallucinating. He sees 7 of 9 and she says something like the branches of something or whatever. And he sees these red branches. And then he also sees this like red door. Hold on. Let's see if it shows it. Yeah. See, so this is her coming to help him, but he sees a red door. Hold on. I don't want to play too much of it. Okay. He sees right. No, all right, there's a door. I don't know, but it was weird. So she takes him there and okay, so then he's like, Jack took in some stuff. I'm taking him to the infirmary or whatever. And he gets upset. And he's like, go to your son kind of thing. And he's like, med bay. And he has that fear, because he's a father, although he's been a father for 2 seconds, but he has that fear. And Jack goes, he flatlines, but then they bring him back. But he goes back up to he goes in there. Sorry. And she's like, come on, Jack, breathe and everything. So he ends up breathing again. He comes out of it. And then he goes back up to oh no, not yet. Jesus, sorry. So then she's all like, tell us what we want to know, buddy, or this is gonna suck for you. And then finally he does. Okay, so he starts talking all like demon like. He's like, you're never gonna win and everything, like he's been possessed. And I'm all like, look, the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. And then, but he's like, so then his face starts to go all wonky, right? And he starts talking about how, hold on, let me. Oh, no. Oh, crap. Did his face go there? Sorry, you guys. Yeah. Oh, there it is. So his face goes all wonky and it's because, hold on, I need to go back to it. There. It's because they're changelings, you guys. They are changelings. They are changelings from Deep Space Nine. That's the one from the Dominion War. And oh, it's so good. As soon as they said that, I was like, yes. I was like, that's awesome. Deep Space Nine is where I started out with Star Trek. So I love the Dominion War and all that stuff. And there was like the Klingon War. So good. Oh my God, I love Deep Space Nine. So anyways, back on the ship, he's like, again, we need to attack. And I'm all like, you and this attack, it's ridiculous. So they finally, he is all like, how long has it been since you've been into the oh shoot, what's it called? Where they get them all in a sea of like, goop and everything. And so he's like, they can't keep their form forever. So he turns into this goop and she's like, don't let it get away. And he blasts it. And I'm like, oh, you couldn't have captured it. So Jack's doing all right. And then this guy, right? So he's talking about there's a faction that broke off from the main hive of changelings because they lost the Dominion War. They had, I believe it was like they tried to set a disease in the changelings or whatever. And so this guy, he sets up a bomb, right? And so he leaves and everything. And but she's like, well, what are they trying to do? And he's like, they're trying to steal something from the Institute, and it's going to be a bigger weapon because they want to, take down Starfleet because they, embarrassed them during the Dominion War or whatnot. But the Starfleet can't do anything about it because they don't want to start up the Dominion War again, which is understandable. But at the same time, I'm all like, I'd watch that. So then the bomb goes, they're about to warp out of there. They're about to warp out of there, but then the bomb goes off and they can't go to warp. So now he's all like, this is the time, we have to attack now. And so they come up behind the Shrike, right? And they fire on it. They fire torpedoes. They fire everything we got. And then the Shrike opens up a portal behind them and they get hit with their own torpedoes. And I was like, man, you guys, stop playing incompetent. You guys need to be smarter about this. You guys are smart. I don't understand why you're letting this happen. I mean, I know why, because it has to happen because it's good. But so then they pretty much dead in the water. They are dead in the water. And they're getting sucked into that little space, whatever it was called, the sinkhole. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry, you guys. And so he turns to Picard and he's all like, he's like, William, I'm so sorry. And he's all like, you've just doomed everybody on this ship. Get off my bridge. And I was like, oh, somebody's in trouble. And then William looks and like, he's just like, yeah. And then that's where you see it going into this little sinkhole thing. And then that's where the episode ends. That's where it ends, in peril. And this episode was so stinking good, you guys. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love this episode, but mostly just the back half, because like I said before, it was, because it had action and it had like great, that reveal that it's the changelings was awesome. Like, I loved that. I love that it was the changelings. I love that it's going back to the Dominion War, which is like my childhood. Like, I started out with Deep Space Nine, and so I like watched that whole series. I remember watching it like I believe it was every Friday night. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I watched it every Friday night, and I loved it, you guys. I love this episode was great, and I really think that Terry Metallis gets Star Trek. Unlike those other a-holes that ran this show for season 1 and season 2, they didn't know what they were doing. So I have talked way too long, you guys. But I just want you to know that I really liked this episode. I hope you guys liked this episode. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you listening to my nonsense. But tell me what you guys thought about this episode. You had to like it. You had to. It was pretty good. That last like 20 minutes was like so action-packed and like suspenseful. You're like, oh, what's gonna happen? You're like, oh my goodness. And then they're like, the changelings? Yes, and everything. Will the Dominion show up? I mean, oh, that'd be so good, you guys. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm quite excited for the future of this season. And I hope Terry Metallis, I hope he writes more Star Trek, if he's doing this good of a job and it ends well and it does better, I would hope that he comes back to Star Trek. I don't know what he's working on right now. But anyways, that's my thoughts, you guys. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you didn't like it, I don't know what's going on with you, but it's like whatever. But tell me what you guys thought. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week, where I am waiting with bated breath for my breakdown and review of Star Trek Picard Season 3. You guys have a good week. Live long and prosper. Bye.